need to choke up, you can. Good. Very good. So I slunk away. You can see I started to walk before she fed, and she started to follow me. So I waited until I felt like she was committed, then I got myself out of the picture. If I stay right beside her, it makes it very confusing. I also have to say, when horses first begin working with me, I am only good. I'm kind of novel and new, and they have a tendency to gravitate towards me more because it's a natural thing. Or it's just something they all do. Okay. And in time, she will recognize that when I'm not making eye contact and when I look like the wilted flower, somebody made that up in one of my clinics, but when I look like the wilted flower, that I'm not going to receive her, you know, so she'll sort that out. Good. And I want you to be doing more reinforcing than I am, so we can balance that back out a little bit. As much as I can, I try to make sure we have the same food, the same targets, the same bridge signals, so we're as equal as can be. So we're not creating a bias towards one side or the other. Also, because I am kind of novel and new and have only fed her basically for doing behaviors, because I'm not her day-to-day person who does other stuff, I'm a little more reinforcing because the per capita of reinforcements for me is pretty high in her times with me. So when you're ready, we'll see. She's very bright, so sometimes I push it a little too far, and we don't want to frustrate her. There's inherent frustration in learning, so we want to, or stress in learning. So we want to minimize it so it doesn't turn to frustration. But there's an unknown quantity. Sandy, target. Atta girl, very nice. And there I walked her away a little bit to help her kind of learn the follow through and the walking around. Can you come around with me? Good girl. And now I'm lining her up. Excellent. And that'll be part of free jumping, is teaching her to line up for that jump nice and straight. And I always use a target because if you just ask them with a hand, they have a tendency to kind of cut you off and shoulder into you. So I wanted to go. And you can back her up as you walk a little bit if you need to. Good. So you can even click that motion of moving towards you. So she gets, because we want to click the action we want to see more of. But what do we want to see more of? We want to see clicking, we want to see commitment and coming. Yeah. Target, give her a point so I can see it. There you go. So I can see it too. Because I was like, did she send her? Did she not? So that way I'll see the point. Okay. So, and you can just go ahead. Good girl. She's better with her targeting too. All right, sweetie, let's go over here a little bit. Good. Come on. Up there. Good. Now, as we start to do something that's an energetic behavior, we need to keep track of her emotions. So as we want her to enjoy it and have fun, we also need the impulse control, and we need her to be good girl. We need the impulse control, and we need her to be steady and calm. So as we want to teach her, you can explode and have a little energy in between, but when you come to us, we need you to settle back down. So I'm going to go send her, go. Excellent. And I like to click as they go over the pole because eventually the pole will get a little bit bigger, but that was really, really good. Now, a lot of horses, you're stuck just doing the little A to B between two people very close for a while because, as I said, it is the most challenging part for them. And we don't want it to be, we want to make it clear and minimize the frustration so we keep that good, happy horse who enjoys the learning process. And eventually things get tougher and tougher and tougher, but as we're moving up, they've already learned, I like solving problems, I know how to solve problems. So we don't want to overface her. Good. Very nice. Nicely done, Pat. Zandy. Here. Zandy, target. Atta girl. Excellent. Very nice. So you can see I kind of choked up close and then walked her back a little bit. They come out here. Go ahead there. Good. And where I clicked was when she was kind of following with me, I clicked as she reached towards it a little bit, because I've been clicking her not reaching. Good, very nice. Come up. All right, ready? And go. Good. And that was pretty good. I mean, she was interested in the box there that she hadn't seen, but she didn't stick with me as much. Okay, so look for a little bit of softening there. She kind of had a little bit of, you know, little cranky looking from this side. I couldn't necessarily see it from the front. Good, very good. So look for that softness. We want to keep the softness as part of the learning equation, so that's excellent. Target. Good, excellent. I think we leave it there for now. I think that was a good place. We'll leave that as a little break. We'll come back to it a little bit. So we'll let her process that, but that was an excellent little approximation. She went right quickly and readily. She gave us a little bit of energy, but brought it back down to not much energy. So I point her back to you, and then I'm going to go answer a question. You're back with her, go. Good job. So there we go. So that's just the very beginning of free jumping, which will later turn into jumping far away with a big jump. But we wanted to teach her something new. Chris.
Yesterday we spoke some about it, as you've been talking about the emotion of the horse. And for those who had seen the Valia, the horse show when it first came out, with Frederick, who had the 3 horse stallions, who would run toward him and rear up, and he played with them in the opening. He had problems by the time he got to San Diego with a little bit of aggression on the stallion.
Yep.
Because I'm guessing that a friend worked with him on it, but I'm guessing that in part he got them coming to him by the way you like draw somebody in a round pen stepping backwards. But with the stallion, that's also how horses, take space for dominance. And after a while, they got, wait a second, we're always moving in on him. We're moving in on him. He started having problems with some aggression with it. I was wondering about your thoughts, both from the marine mammal, I don't know something else. But the idea of working with stallions and doing something like that at Liberty, where you're drawing them traditionally, but would this be a better way to work on it coming towards you? Or would it be better to alternate, like I was describing the dogs, where the stallion chases the dogs one length and the dogs chase him the other length, so that you're changing off and it's not all.
And I think it's really paying attention to their bodies and the things that are telling me whether it's tension or not tension. So when she even was going around, she started, you could see Zandy looked a little bit grumpy as she was following the target. Catching those moments. We oftentimes don't catch the moment because we're looking at the behavior. So we think, oh good, she followed the target, but we forgot to look, how was she following the target? How did she seem to feel? How was she responding? So when we can catch that and say, okay, I took it this time, but I'm going to make a mental note that I had a little bit of grumpiness there. And we can unintentionally teach, I have seen horses who have been taught with positive reinforcement to be, they've been a little tense and overexcited, and people keep working with them, and pretty soon that tension will rise and rise and rise till it can be a problem, So you always want to kind of remember to look for that settling and that calm. So even if you take an approximation that looks a little tense, that's okay, but just make a mental note and say, I want softness. You can also see, as I want her to be able to, we talked a little bit yesterday too about impulse control. I want my animals to be able to have impulse control. I want calm, relaxed, quiet, but engaged and eager. And that's kind of an odd combination because I want to be here like this and I say, hey, Minty, that's my horse, Minty, can you jump that 3-foot jump? And he goes, oh yeah. And he just takes off from a standstill and is ready to go do it. And then he comes back and he settles back down and says, okay, good, I'm with you again. So I teach them, when they're with me, I want default behavior to be emotionally and physically quiet. So I teach them to come up to my side and just kind of relax with me. So there was a time I was working on a horse free jumping, and so when Zandy gave me that little bit of energy, I liked it, but as she got to the target, she settled back down. So it was perfect, and that's what we want to teach her right away, is to bring it up, and you bring it back down. So she starts learning, yay, I have that time to go kick up my heels, but I need to learn how to bring it back down and settle. There's a horse I was teaching to free jump. He had water jumping issues. He was in Southern Pines. He was an eventing horse. You kind of have to jump water and into water. And so he had a lot of problems we worked with. Once was a spookiness, then his, so if you